My family cheated me out of $94,000 at my lowest, so I faked memory loss, played the helpless victim, and left them broke, exposed, and begging for help. I was in a bad accident. I don't want to get too specific, but basically, a heavy piece of equipment fell and crushed half my body. I barely remember the ambulance ride before they put me in a medically induced coma because of brain swelling or whatever. The doctors told my family I might not make it. Here's where it gets insane. When they put you in those comas, they don't tell you that sometimes you can still hear everything. You can't move, can't open your eyes, can't speak, but your brain is still working. It's like being buried alive inside your own body. My family visited every day. At first, it was the normal stuff, mom crying, sister saying she was praying for me, brother awkwardly standing there. But on day 4, something changed. I remember it perfectly. The nurse had just left after checking my vitals. My brother waited a few seconds, and then I heard him walk closer to my bed. Jackson told my mom, his voice all low, "He's not going to make it. We should just take his money now." I thought I misheard. I wanted to believe I misheard. But then my mom, my own mother, just said, "He won't need it anyway." They started talking about my bank accounts, my investments, and how they could get access. Jackson mentioned something about power of attorney, and my mom was like, "The doctor said his brain was damaged. Even if he wakes up, he probably won't remember anything." My sister Savannah actually hesitated. She said, "Guys, this feels wrong." But Jackson shut her down fast. He reminded her about her credit card debt and how this could solve all their problems. It's wild how much detail you notice when you can't move or speak. The sound of my mom's cheap bracelets jingling when she grabbed my hand, the smell of my brother's mint gum mixing with beer from lunch, how the ceiling tiles had exactly 322 little holes in each square. I counted them over and over to stay sane. I'm lying there, fully conscious, listening to them plan how to steal everything I've worked for my entire life. $94,000 that took me 8 years of saving, money I skipped vacations for, money I ate ramen instead of real food for, money I didn't buy a car for and took the bus in winter for. And the whole time, I'm screaming inside my own head, screaming, but nothing comes out, not even a twitch. The worst part? This wasn't even new behavior, just the most extreme version of it. When Mom's roof leaked last year, who paid $7,800 to fix it? Me. When Jackson got arrested for that bar fight and needed bail money, I gave him $2,500. When Savannah's car broke down, I loaned her $3,600. She never paid it back. I've been their safety net my whole adult life, and the second they thought I was checking out for good, they were ready to drain my accounts and split. After they left that day, I cried, actually cried, even though I was in a coma. One of the nurses, Victoria, noticed the tears. She wiped my face and told me it was normal for coma patients to have physical reactions. If she only knew what I just heard for the next 3 days, I had to listen to them planning more details. Jackson knew a guy who could help with paperwork. Mom was already mentally spending her share on a kitchen renovation. Savannah was quieter but still there, still part of it. They talked about me like I was already dead, right in front of me. My mom kept saying, "Such a tragedy," in this fake sad voice while literally planning to rob me. Jackson kept saying he'd want us to be taken care of, and he was always helping us anyway. I kept thinking about all those Reddit posts about horrible families and inheritance drama. Never thought I'd be living one from inside a coma. On day 7, something changed. The doctor came in with my family, and I heard him say my brain swelling was going down. They were going to start bringing me out of the coma. He said I was responding well and had a good chance at recovery. The silence in that room was deafening. Nobody said anything for like 30 seconds. Then Mom started fake crying about a miracle while Jackson asked a bunch of questions about cognitive damage and memory issues. That's when I made my decision. I wasn't going to let them know I heard everything, not right away. I was going to play the confused, grateful brother and son until I could figure out how to protect myself. That night, when it was just me and Nurse Victoria, I felt her checking my fourth. She whispered, "Your family left. It's just us now." And I swear to God I managed to squeeze her hand, just barely. She froze, then squeezed back. "Can you hear me?" she asked super quietly. I squeezed again. "Are you aware when they visit?" Another squeeze. She was silent for a minute, then said, "I'm going to help you. Okay, just hang in there." To be honest, I think she knew something was off with my family. The way they talked when they thought no one was listening versus when doctors were around was suspicious as hell. The next morning, they started the process of bringing me out of the coma. The doctor said it would take time, that I wouldn't be fully conscious right away. Perfect for my plan. And that's where I am now, Reddit. I'm typing this from my hospital bed when no one's around, I'm officially awake but playing like I'm dazed, and the doctors say it's normal to have memory issues after what I've been through. My family has been all tears and hugs, acting like they're so relieved. But I see Jackson texting someone when he thinks I'm not looking. I catch my mom staring at me with this calculating look. Only Savannah seems genuinely happy I'm awake, but she still went along with their plan. Nurse Victoria slipped me my phone when no one was around. She said she had a brother who went through something similar with family trying to take advantage after an accident. She's been giving me extra time alone by running tests that don't actually exist. Tomorrow, my friend Harold is visiting. He's the only person I trust right now. I'm going to tell him everything and figure out how to protect my money before my family can get to it. The doctor says I'll be discharged in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks to prepare, 2 weeks to set a trap for the people who were ready to rob me while I was fighting for my life. I've never been so angry. I can barely see straight when I think about it. But I'm going to make sure they regret ever thinking they could take what's mine. I'll update when I can. Right now, I need to put my phone away before the night nurse comes in. Harold came to visit me the day after my last post. Best decision ever, leaving my phone unlocked so Victoria, the nurse, could text him for me. When my family wasn't around, I told him everything. His face went through like 5 different emotions in 10 seconds. He wanted to confront my family right then, but I convinced him we needed to be smarter than that. See, Harold works in IT security and knows all about that digital stuff I never bothered to learn. Turns out that's going to save my ass. The first thing we did was make sure my phone was always hidden under my pillow or blanket when family visited. I started recording every conversation. In the 3 days since I woke up, they've said enough shady stuff to fill a documentary. The most messed up part? They'll say one thing when we're alone, then completely switch when nurses or doctors walk in. Like Jekyll and Hyde level fakeness. Yesterday, Jackson was telling me I should focus on recovery and not worry about complicated stuff like finances, while Mom nodded along. Then my doctor walked in, and suddenly they're all, "We're just so thankful he's alive. And family is everything to us." Makes me want to puke. The recordings are hard to listen to. Jackson asked if I remembered my banking passwords yesterday. Played it off like he wanted to make sure my bills get paid while I'm recovering. When I mumbled something about not being sure, I saw that little spark in his eye. Disgusting. Mom keeps bringing me homemade food that tastes like crap, by the way, and acting all maternal. Then, when she thinks I'm napping, she's on the phone talking about renovating her kitchen with the money that's coming. What they don't know is that Harold and I have been busy. First, we changed all my banking passwords. Then we set up a completely new email they don't know about for financial alerts. But the real genius part, we created decoy accounts. Harold found this app that makes fake banking screens that look totally legit. We set it up on my phone with numbers close to my real accounts but not exact. $87,000 instead of my actual $94,000. Just different enough that if they notice later, I can claim memory issues from the accident. The trap was almost blown when Savannah caught me texting Harold from the bathroom. I played it off like I was confused about what day it was and needed someone to remind me. She bought it, but I could tell she was suspicious. Had to dial up the confused patient act afterward, even drooled a little during dinner to sell it. Not my proudest moment, but worth it. The doctors are saying my cognitive function is improving faster than expected. I've been hiding this from my family, acting way more confused than I am. When they're around, I stare blankly, forget words mid-sentence, and ask the same questions repeatedly. An Oscar-worthy performance, to be honest. The next phase of our plan happened 3 days ago. Jackson brought actual paperwork to the hospital, power of attorney forms. I pretended to be half asleep while he explained to Mom that this would just make things easier for everyone. He even had the audacity to ask the doctor if I was mentally fit to make my own decisions. Luckily, my doctor, who I'm starting to think suspects something, said that while I'm having some expected cognitive issues, I'm still legally capable of making my own decisions. The look on Jackson's face, if I wasn't so pissed, I would have laughed. So, I did something risky. I signed the papers, but here's where Harold's genius comes in. I signed them with my left hand. I'm right-handed and deliberately misspelled my own middle name. If they try to use this document, it won't hold up. We've already got a real power of attorney set up with Harold that's properly notarized, thanks to Victoria sneaking in a notary friend during night shift. Speaking of Victoria, this woman deserves a goddamn medal. She's been running interference, giving me privacy to talk to Harold, and even smuggled in my laptop. Yesterday, she accidentally spilled water on Jackson when he was getting too nosy about my treatment plan. I'm sending her the biggest gift basket ever made when this is over. Last night was the closest I came to blowing everything up. Mom was sitting by my bed, scrolling through Pinterest kitchen renovations on my iPad, showing Savannah backsplash options they might choose once things settle. I gripped my sheets so hard my knuckles went white. Had to fake a coughing fit so they'd call the nurse and give me a minute to calm down. The rage I feel is like nothing I've ever experienced. It's physical. My heart pounds, and my vision actually blurs. Sometimes, when they're talking, I imagine just screaming, "I heard everything you said when I was in the coma," and watching their faces crumble. But that would ruin everything we've set up. Harold and I have created what he calls a financial honeypot. We've moved most of my real money into new secured accounts they can't access, left about $12,800 in my original accounts as bait. The decoy banking app on my phone shows fake balances that look right. Yesterday, I had a breakthrough in my recovery. Suddenly remembered my banking password. I told Jackson with this pathetic, grateful voice that I was so lucky to have family looking out for me. Asked if he could help me check my accounts since I was still having trouble with numbers. The greedy bastard practically lunged for my phone. I watched his eyes light up when the fake balance loaded. $87,223 in checking, $26,750 in savings. These aren't my real numbers, but close enough to what they would expect. He immediately offered to help organize my finances while I recover. I'm being discharged tomorrow. 2 weeks of playing weak and confused have paid off. They have no idea what's coming. Jackson has offered to let me stay at his place until I'm back on my feet. Says it'll be easier than the third-floor walk-up where I live. What he really wants is 24/7 access to manipulate me. I agreed with this grateful puppy dog routine that made me want to shower afterward. I'll be staying with him for 3 days max while we finalize the last parts of our plan. The most bizarre thing, Savannah pulled me aside this morning when the others went to get coffee. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying. She asked if I was really okay, if I needed anything. For a split second, I almost told her everything, but then I remembered her sitting silently while they planned to rob me. Trust is gone, completely shattered. I'm typing this from the hospital bathroom with the shower running so they think I'm getting cleaned up. Harold is picking me up tomorrow in his car, since mine is still at my apartment. The doctors have given me strict instructions for recovery, physical therapy, and follow-up appointments. My family has already been talking about how expensive all this will be and how good thing you've been saving. They have no idea what's about to hit them. The decoy accounts are set to trigger a fraud investigation, accounts frozen alert, exactly 3 days after I move in with Jackson. By then, I'll be ready to move to Harold's guest room instead. Reddit, I'm scared and furious, and sometimes I break down crying in the bathroom, but I'm also more determined than I've ever been. These people, my so-called family, were ready to steal from me when they thought I was dying. There's no coming back from that. My next update will probably be after everything goes down. Send good vibes or whatever that the plan works. I've never been good at confrontation, probably why they've walked all over me for years. But this time is different. This time, they messed with the wrong guy. So after getting discharged, I moved in with Jackson as planned. His apartment was a disaster zone. Empty beer cans everywhere, sink full of crusty dishes, bathroom I was legit afraid to use. But I kept playing the grateful little brother act, smiling through gritted teeth every time he helped me check my banking app every single day. The weirdest part of staying with him was seeing how he actually lives. His fridge had exactly 3 things in it: beer, ketchup, and a half-eaten burrito that might have been growing penicillin. The dude is 35, but lives like a college freshman. He kept making comments about how, when things settle, he might upgrade to a bigger place. Wonder where that money was going to come from. Day 2 at Jackson's, Mom came over with Savannah. They brought homemade dinner that was clearly just takeout transferred to Tupperware. I saw the damn DoorDash guy from the window. Mom spent the entire meal talking about kitchen renovations and showing me Pinterest boards on her phone. She kept saying stuff like, "What do you think of this backsplash, honey?" As if I gave a damn. I noticed Jackson texting constantly under the table. Later, I accidentally glimpsed his screen while pretending to be confused about where to put my plate. He was texting someone named Dave about getting the funds by Friday and paying back what I owe plus interest. Gambling debts, no doubt. That night, after everyone left, I pretended to fall asleep on the couch while Jackson was on the phone. He straight up told whoever it was that he'd have the money soon and my brother doesn't need to know. My blood was boiling, but I kept my breathing steady. Hardest acting job of my life. On day 3, the real fun began. I gave Jackson the login to my decoy online banking portal that Harold had created. Told him I was having trouble keeping track of my bills and could use his help. The greedy bastard couldn't type the info in fast enough. I swear to God, Reddit, the look on his face when he saw those account balances. You'd think he'd won the lottery. He was literally licking his lips while scrolling through my transaction history. He asked if I was sure I wanted him to handle things. I played it perfectly, confused, grateful, totally clueless. That afternoon, while Jackson was running errands, probably talking to his bookie, I snuck out to meet Harold at Starbucks. My legs were still weak as hell from being in the hospital so long, but the adrenaline kept me going. Harold had already set up the final phase of our plan, a fake transaction-approved screen that would show up when they tried to move money from my accounts. When I got back, Jackson never even noticed I'd been gone. He was too busy on the phone with Mom, making plans. I pretended to take extra pain meds and went to sleep early. By morning, I was packed and ready to leave for Harold's place, but before I could go, Jackson asked for a small favor. Could he transfer some money to his account temporarily to cover some expenses he'd had while taking care of me? Just $15,000 that he'd definitely pay back soon. I looked at him with these big, grateful eyes and said, "Of course, family helps family." I logged into the fake portal, entered his account info, and showed him the transfer successful screen. He literally hugged me. It was all I could do not to punch him in his lying face. An hour later, I was safely at Harold's place, and then we waited. It took exactly 26 hours for shit to hit the fan. Jackson called first, 4 times in a row. I didn't answer. Then Mom called, then Savannah, then a number I didn't recognize, probably one of Jackson's loser friends. Within 3 hours, I had 37 missed calls and 22 texts. The texts started panicky and quickly turned angry. "One Jackson, dude, the money didn't go through. Can you check your account?" And Jackson, "Scott, seriously, I need that transfer ASAP. Mom, honey, call me right away about your accounts. Mom, Jackson, Duxon, WTF, the bank says your accounts are frozen. Mom, Scott, pick up your phone. This is important." And Jackson, "Are you kidding me right now?" Turns out Jackson had immediately tried to transfer more than just the $15,000 we'd agreed on. Harold's fake banking portal showed a fraud alert, all accounts temporarily frozen message when he tried to access it again. Even better, Harold had programmed it to show that the system had detected multiple unauthorized access attempts and suspicious transfer requests, totaling $47,860. That's right, this asshole tried to drain half my supposed savings the minute he thought it had cleared. But that's not even the best part. During those 26 hours, while ignoring their calls, I learned from social media that Jackson had put a deposit down on a new truck. Mom had scheduled contractors to start her kitchen renovation next week. Savannah had posted on Instagram about being finally debt-free with some inspirational quote. They spent money they didn't have and never would have. After 2 days of ignoring them, I finally texted back, just a simple "sorry, was feeling really bad. What's going on? Playing dumb one last time." The flood of messages was insane. Turns out Mom had already ordered $19,000 worth of kitchen cabinets. Jackson was on the hook for a $7,500 truck deposit he couldn't get back. Savannah had paid off $11,000 in credit cards that morning. I agreed to meet them for dinner at Mom's house to figure everything out. Told them I was confused about what was happening with my accounts too. They bought it completely. Walking into Mom's house that night was surreal. They were all sitting around the kitchen table, looking stressed as hell. Mom had clearly been crying. Jackson was sweating through his shirt. Only Savannah looked more confused than panicked. For the first 20 minutes, I kept up the act, asked innocent questions about what was happening, let them explain how something weird was going on with my accounts. Jackson kept saying it was probably just a temporary system glitch that would resolve soon. Then I put my phone on the table and hit play on the recording app. Their own voices filled the room. "He's not going to make it. We should just take his money now. He won't need it anyway. Even if he wakes up, he probably won't remember anything." The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's face went completely white. Jackson froze with his beer halfway to his mouth. Savannah started crying immediately. I just sat there, didn't say a word, let the recordings play, all of them, every conversation they had at my hospital bed, every plan they made thinking I couldn't hear, every single word. When the recording stopped, I finally spoke. I told them I'd heard everything from my hospital bed, that I remembered every word they said while I was in the coma, that the accounts they thought they were accessing were fake, that my real money was safe somewhere they would never find it. Jackson exploded, started screaming about how I'd set them up and tricked them. The irony was completely lost on him. Mom switched instantly to victim mode, crying about how they were just trying to be practical and would have told me everything if I'd recovered. The most surprising reaction was Savannah. She just kept repeating, "I'm so sorry," over and over. She said she knew it was wrong but didn't have the guts to stand up to them. begged me to believe she was going to tell me everything once I was better. I didn't scream, didn't cry, just told them exactly what I thought of each of them, how they'd shown their true colors, how there was no coming back from this, how they were on their own from now on. Mom tried to guilt trip me about family and blood and all that. I just laughed in her face, told her she stopped being my mother the moment she decided my money was more important than my life. Jackson threatened to make me pay somehow. I played him the part of the recording where he discussed trying to get power of attorney while I was brain damaged, told him I'd already sent copies to his employer and his girlfriend. That shut him up quick. As for Savannah, I told her I needed time, that while she didn't stop them, at least she showed some hesitation, that maybe someday we could talk, but not anytime soon. I left them sitting there at the table, Mom crying theatrically, Jackson seething, Savannah just looking broken. I walked out and didn't look back. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, Jackson's truck financing fell through, shocking, and he's being sued by the dealership. Mom had to cancel her kitchen renovation and lost her deposit. Savannah is back in credit card debt after the payments she made were reversed. I moved back to my apartment with a new security system, changed my phone number, kept the old one just to watch the desperate messages roll in. Harold helped me set up cameras after Jackson showed up drunk at my place. The most unexpected development, Victoria, the nurse from the hospital, reached out through Harold. Turns out she went through something similar with her own family years ago. We're getting coffee next week. Not saying it's anything romantic yet, but we'll see. It's been 1 month since I woke up from that coma. 1 month of lying, plotting, and finally getting justice. I don't feel as satisfied as I thought I would. Mostly I just feel empty, like I lost my family twice, once when they betrayed me and again when I cut them off. But I also feel stronger somehow, like I finally stood up for myself after a lifetime of being their safety net. Savannah texted my new number yesterday. Harold must have given it to her. She just asked if I was doing okay and said she was starting therapy. I haven't responded yet, not sure if I will.